So there's good news and bad news about our next text, Gardenias by Paul Monette. The good news is it's short, just a little over a page long. So we have a break from some of the challenges of the really old readings that we've been doing. The bad news is it's difficult in a whole new way. So, as a way of opening up the text to your investigation and to your inquiry, I've collected a single line by line by line by line version of the text. And I want you, for the very first introductory assignment, I want you to imagine that you are the poetry editor. You've been given this page and a half long poem, and it's written like one great run-on sentence. There's no punctuation. There's no paragraph breaks. We call these stanza breaks when we're dealing with poetry. There's just line after line after line after line after line. So your first job is to break the poem up into stanzas. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find a way to print out the text, or if you'd like, you can just type it in again for yourself. And what I'd like you to do is you've got line after line after line after line of text, but I'd like you to decide where to put the line breaks. So will you decide that the first 3 lines are a stanza of poetry? If you have it printed out, you can put a box around the stanza. Or maybe you're going to decide that the first stanza should finish here. It's going to go 1, 2 in the beginning of the 3rd line, and that these lines will be the next poetic stanza. So I think the easiest way to do it is to draw boxes around the text. Wherever I think there should be a break, a pause, a space before the next thought, I can just end the box. Alternately, it's really not a bad idea to, you could put it into stanzas by retyping it, if you're a quick typer, and then you have your own version in the stanza text that you, as the poetic editor, have chosen. We'll see who does it right. Or rather, what I'd like you to do next is I'd like you to, after you've read the poem a couple times, and after you've broken it up into stanzas, however you can do it, I'd like you then to count the number of stanzas that you've decided this poem should be broken into. Should it be 3 stanzas? Should it be 30 stanzas? Those are both options. So at the end of your job, you've read Gardenias by Paul Monette. You've broken up into stanzas, and then you've counted. Maybe you have 12. Maybe you have 4. Maybe you have 30. However many stanzas you think, break the poem up into thoughts. And so your first discussion board this week, due Tuesday night, is simply, I'd like you to simply type in your 3rd stanza. And I'd like you to type in your last stanza. Just your 3rd stanza. So, however you break it up, however long or short that stanza is, your discussion board is simply typing in, this is what I think my 3rd stanza is. And it's going to be interesting when you guys look at those discussion boards on Wednesday. It's going to be interesting to see, I want the 3rd stanza and how many total you found. So you're going to write out the 3rd and then put the number. So it'll be interesting for you all to see how the class does. Does everyone agree in the 3rd stanza? Do people choose different ones? Are the 3rd stanzas all long? Are they short? What do you constitute? How do you understand the 3rd big chunk of thought to be? And how many total chunks do you have? So I can't wait to see if the whole class is on the same number, if all the number 3s are the same, if they're wildly different, if they're short, if they're long. And then after you've posted your third, I'd like you to say, a couple sentences, explain why. Here, this is my third stanza because I think the chunk starts with this idea, blah, 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 blah. Or I think it really needs all these words. Or I just thought the third stanza was one little short line. There's lots of ways you can justify your choice. But I'd like to see your number 3 stanza. I'd like to see why you broke it there, written out, and your total number of stanzas in the discussion board. And I'll look Tuesday night at midnight. I'll get up early Wednesday morning and see all your choices. Okay, see you in a little bit.